Hi, I'm John Mitchell, and this is the third of 7 short videos introducing a new vision of leadership and culture for business, government and the professions, a vision embodied in the Mitchell model. In the first video, we saw how the Mitchell model articulates 9 contexts from the psychological to the governmental, applying in each a consistent scale of 6 levels of quality. In the second video, we went into depth on the context of the individual leader, exploring leadership responsibility, interactions and communication, coming inevitably towards the inner world of mindset and psychology that underpins leadership decision-making and influence. In this third video, we'll open up this inner world with a focus on contexts 2, 3, 4 and 5. The context of mindset, intellectual intelligence, physical intelligence and emotional intelligence. Again, applying the 4-way relationship structure and the 6 levels of quality that open up important new possibilities for assessment and growth. In video 1, we established 9 contexts of leadership, from the individual to the governmental, each with 6 levels of quality. In video 2, we explored the context of the individual leader and how the 6 levels of quality apply in relation to leadership responsibility and interactions. Now in video 3, we'll go into depth on context 2, the context of leadership mindset, which means also going into depth on context 3, 4 and 5. These are the component parts of mindset: intellectual intelligence, emotional intelligence, and physical intelligence. Just as in video 1 we applied the 360 relationship structure to the interpersonal relationships of the individual leader, so we can also apply it to the 4-way inner mindset relationships, featuring intellectual, emotional and physical intelligence and their consequent impact. In this overview, we'll explore how both the 4 responsibilities and the 6 levels of quality can be applied in these internal contexts. The responsibilities felt and acted upon in the mindset context correspond to the general descriptors at each level. This means that at level +3, the responsibility is constructive inclusion. This translates into 3 further responsibilities felt and acted upon at level +3 in context 3 to 5. For IQ, to continuously renew and develop the quality of thought. For EQ, to continuously renew and develop the quality of emotional life. And in PQ, to continuously renew and develop the quality of vitality. So how can we know what constitutes quality in IQ, EQ and PQ? In IQ, level +1 consists of positive associations and memories. This level includes the capacity to sort and categorize and to make associated judgments. When the judgments are negative, this fluctuates to level -1, where negative associations and memories can generate skepticism. Level +2 in IQ is the level of active constructive thought, the ability to compare and contrast and structure rational and positive arguments and solutions. In level -2, these capabilities are used negatively to generate destructive arguments, including disinformation. Level 3 in the IQ context is that of the capacity for objective thought that includes and transcends subjectivity. Level -3 denotes the destruction of intellectual capability. Again, leaders fluctuate between levels, and developmental growth means moving from a lower level to a higher level. In EQ, level +1 consists of positive reactions and likes, fluctuating to level -1, negative emotional reactions, and dislikes. Level +2 is the realm of constructive passions and strong emotions that are conditional, while level -2 concerns destructive passions. Level +3 is the world of unconditional feelings and emotional freedom. Level -3, that of emotional prison. Once again, leaders typically fluctuate between levels, and developmental growth means moving from a lower level to a higher level. Coming finally to physical intelligence, or PQ, the focus is on vitality and our options for influencing it, with positive and negative tensions at levels + and -1, respectively, constructive and destructive appetites at levels +2 and -2, full vitality at level +3, and ruined or impaired vitality at level -3. If we now link together the key words at each level from these four inner contexts, a picture starts to emerge of psychological life at each level. Starting at level -3, we can see that the mindset of destructive exclusion includes fragmented or distorted thinking, emotional imprisonment, and impaired or ruined vitality. As we ascend the different levels, we can similarly survey the components of mindset at each level, recognizing that there can be leaders at each level as well as varying degrees of fluctuation. And while we're examining similarities of level across each context, we need to remember also that there are many possible variants. A leader with a center of gravity of IQ at level +2 may have an EQ level of -1 and a PQ level of -2. A great deal of modern life is spent in oscillations between level +2 and level -2 in all contexts, and for many people there may be little more than levels +1 and -1. What's important for leaders who wish to exert a constructive influence is to acknowledge that the quality of influence is determined by the combined quality of intellectual, physical, and emotional intelligence, and, like each of these, can vary in quality from a -3 to a +3 level. So we've considered the psychological context of leadership and cultural mindsets, and how each of the inner components of intellectual, emotional, and physical intelligence connects to the 6 levels of quality. Let's now pick up from the section on communication in video 2 and go further in working to understand how these components of mindset impact our communication and the resulting influence. The many and varied challenges of communication begin with the often overlooked truth that we see the world not directly, but rather indirectly, as if through a second pair of spectacles that we could call a filter, and that others do the same. Since this often unnoticed filter, through which we interpret what we call reality, is filled with deposits and traces from childhood, school, family, and a whole range of other unseen influences, including ingrained expectations and assumptions, it's easy for us to get into difficulties when, as often happens, we are in contact with a different filter. Our view differs from their view, and the interaction may quickly reach stalemate unless there is both the skill and the wish for what we can call additive communication, that is, an approach that results in the contents of both filters being articulated and shared. Only at that point can a constructive dialogue begin. So the quality of interactions that underpin both individual leadership and organizational culture depends on the personal and collective ability to invite and take on board the other person's filter on a particular subject, which will be achieved through the quality of questioning and of listening, which in the Mitchell model is defined as inner questioning, as well as the quality of acknowledgement and affirmation. A particularly important area of ongoing study is therefore the quality of both external and internal questioning, and both are limited by the development of IQ, EQ, and PQ. We can also apply the same 6 levels of quality that we've used for leadership mindset in the study of questioning. At levels +1 and -1 are constructive and destructive checking questions. Level +2 questions are those that actively seek ideas and solutions. Level -2, those that generate defensiveness. Questions that are characteristic of level +3 promote understanding, while level -3 questions promote confusion. The psychological development of a leader is evidenced by the quality of questions that he or she is able to generate, both in the 15 archetypal interactions set out in video 2 and in the critical internal process that we call listening. In summary, the quality of mindset determines the quality of leadership influence. Its components are intellectual intelligence, emotional intelligence, and physical intelligence, each of which has 6 levels of quality, which, as we've seen, make up the overall quality of mindset and therefore of personal impact. These are the components of leadership quality, and, as we'll see in video 4, they are also the components of the quality of organizational culture. Let's now consolidate our exploration so far by grouping together key words representing the 6 levels of quality in leadership contexts 1 through 5. The individual leader, leadership mindset, and intellectual, emotional, and physical intelligence. So, how can interested organizational leaders and decision makers find out more about the Mitchell model and its potential value to them personally and for their organizations? There are 3 ways. First, take time to study and assimilate all 7 of these introductory videos, which will help you already to get some bearings about where your leadership and organizational quality currently stands. Secondly, you can apply to join one of our series of International Leadership Weeks that are held in Switzerland, China, and Bermuda each year. These give interested CEOs, professional managing partners, and government officials a unique opportunity to explore the Mitchell model in a practical way, while networking with counterparts from other organizations with similar interests. And thirdly, if you'd like to have direct contact through an initial phone call or meeting, please email me at the address shown, and I'll be happy to respond.